Hello, my friends. Today's date is February the 21st, and this is a reading for you if this is your birth date. This is a four-card pull for the year to follow. A general energy card, which I think is either a sustained energy that might be there or a punctuating energy that makes you stop and look and consider. And then there is a particular challenge that you face this year, and then there is an action you can take to stay in balance, and then there is an outcome or synopsis card. So the general energy card of the year is the riddle. What does the riddle ask you to ponder? Well, the deep and mysterious questions of the universe that something you have to face this year is probably not something that you can figure out because it's not an answer that is readily available to you. It's much more deep and mysterious. It's much more connected to a bigger picture than just you or just whoever's involved with you and your question. Um, so the riddle is asking for you to think mythically this year and not just locally, smallly, self-centeredly. That the answer to your question is not something that's going to come easily and readily. So the sense of perseverance, practice, surrender, release, and humor, those are all things that the riddle almost always says if you bring these things, then you'll have more freedom and you'll have more allowance. And the answer to your riddle might sometime come to you in this life, might not come to you. It might always be the riddle that leads to a truth that then leads to a whole nother riddle. So I think it's about the riddle. I think is about relaxing into your life when you can't know the answers to things. And no matter how much you push to find the answers, you're just going to give yourself more pain and trauma to push so hard. At the same time, well, maybe that's your path, and that's what you need to do. So, yeah, it's the riddle. It's the cone. It's the mystery, the great mystery. So, what is your particular challenge? Five of Wands. I think the Five of Wands is about what are you doing with your anger? What are you doing with your frustration? What are you doing with any resentment? What are you doing with any, urge to make change happen? Um, Now, if it comes in with this riddle, there's a question about you questioning whether you can have an effect. That's your challenge, questioning whether you can have an effect, challenging whether getting mad and angry is going to be beneficial, challenging what do you do with your anger, with your power, with your will. Do you just keep stepping up and burning yourself out when you know you might not have an effect or you might not have an understanding, or do you just simply keep feeling your anger and feeling your rage and feeling your resentment and processing it and being it and foaming at it? But that's your challenge, is to go there. I think some part of you really feels like it's futile to fight for whatever you are fighting for this year, and that some part of you needs to look at the bigger picture and needs to see the bigger rhythm and maybe allow more surrender and more peace in your life, because I think on some levels you've probably been very angry and very resentful and very frustrated and very up in your energy and pushing your will to have something happen that may not be able to happen at this time in the way that you wish it. So um, when you're going through that riddle this year, when you're going through that question of your effect, your cause, your sense of yourself in a bigger paradigm versus a smaller, localized paradigm. Those are all the riddle. So how do you stay balanced when you're questioning what to do with your power, what to do with your anger, what to do with your cause, what to do with your fight? Well, Turkey shows up as the action to take. And selfless service is often what, Turkey is attributed to in a large way, and it's one of those like the buffalo where they give their whole body in order for humans to live. We have Franklin wanted the turkey to be the national bird because it supplied so much of the settlers' needs. Settlers ate a lot of turkey. It was a sense of abundance, and it was a sense of thanksgiving toward the turkey because the turkey saved the hides of many a settler who needed something to eat. They don't fly well. They can only fly up to roost in some trees and not far up, and they travel in large herds, and they're formidable fighters. You don't want to be cornered by a group of turkeys. I can tell you don't want to be take them on. But the sense of service that the turkeys provide is often, a sense of how they give to us, but they also, form their clans and form their clutches and protect each other and protect the young. So there's a sense of service that is given through turkeys. And so self-service, giving of oneself in order for others to thrive, in order for others to have food, in order for others to have safety, in order for others to be protected. I think as long as you are working from this framework of understanding that you're working toward service toward a larger goal, a larger good, a larger group than just yourself, and you just keep at it and you give of yourself and give of yourself, and you use that fire and that passion inside of yourself to make good things happen and not just necessarily to fight, and call names and be angry about things, but to use it for powerful good and fairness and equality and strengthening of beings and things that need more strength and more fortitude in their lives. Then I think you will be more at peace in your world. You'll be more relaxed in your world. You'll be more centered in yourself and not feel like, I think, you'll feel like you can wait through till the answer to the riddle comes. What is the important thing about this whole concept that you're pushing around, and maybe you're acting out of fire and rage and anger versus acting out of love and gifting and harmony. And when you look at those issues, the fire seems very small, but it's important. It's important to enact things that are about positive change and positive good and humanitarian growth, and not just in service for oneself. And that's what Turkey is all about. You're not in service for just oneself. It's for the larger clan. It's for the good of beings. It's for the gifting of sacred energy. And in that, I think, do you relax more and do you become more playful? The final card, the synopsis card. Do you become more playful and accepting of your place in the world, of your time in the world, of being a human in the world, of being, a sacred spark of light in the world? And I think that's the answer to the riddle in a lot of ways. The more we call upon that sacred light in the recognition of each of us as being sacred lights in the world, the more do we give compassion and love and acceptance and surrender to those issues and beings that we might have some challenge with. And that's not to say giving up, because the fight for equality and justice and fairness is a powerful and beautiful fight. And I think one that humanity really needs to be absorbed deeper in, to look at the greater good, to look at the higher purpose, and to look at the great sense that each one of us are sacred beings, worthy of respect, worthy of honor, and worthy of being allowed to pursue our life, our liberty, and our pursuits of happiness as we are called to. So there it is, the riddle of the year. What's it all about, Alfie? And how you going to use your power? How you going to use your energy? how you're going to use your fire and your passion and your anger, how you're going to use your love and your compassion and your want for service, and what really matters in all of that. If you look toward the bigger picture question, it might give you some peace, and it might give you some playfulness, and it might give you some joy in a time when you might not feel any of those things. So blessed be to you. Great empowerment.